Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. I have with me Venu wearing a very festive hat, as you can see, and Asjad as well from Cricket4Us 2.0. Of course, as well, please check out Venu's segment, Venu's weekly cricket catch up playlist on our channel. Okay, let's get through this then. Pakistan versus New Zealand. Very, very exciting. A little bit disappointing for Pakistan as no BABAR Azam, but you guys will already know that, I'm sure. Okay, let's go through the Pakistan side first, or squad even. Shah Masood, Abid Ali, Imam Al Haq, Azhar Ali, Babar Azam, Haris Sahel, Fawad Alam, Imran Butt, Muhammad Rizwan, Safraz Ahmed, Fahim Ashraf, Shadab Khan, Yasir Shah, Muhammad Abbas, Naseem Shah, Shaheen Afridi, and Sahel Khan. Okay, so unavailable for the first test. Obviously, Imam Al Haq and Babar Azam, really big blows for Pakistan as they're pretty much mainstays normally. And Muhammad Rizwan will be leading Pakistan in the test match as well. Obviously, there were talks of him taking the test captaincy rather than Babar Azam initially when Azhar Ali was demoted. But okay, let's then talk about this squad. So the biggest, I think, talking point obviously is Babar Azam and Imam Al Haq being injured. I don't want to go too much into that, but let's touch upon it. Venu, how much of an impact will that have on Pakistan, do you think, in that first test?
Huge impact. Babar Azam will be the, he's the first name on their team sheet. And as a neutral, I'm disappointed that he's not in that team. But I'm sure Pakistan will manage without him. It'd be interesting to see the players that come in to replace him to see how they'll do. But I'm sure they'll manage. But as for neutral, it would have been nice to see him playing. But he'll be a massive miss for Pakistan, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. Ashud, anything to add to that?
I just want to add a couple of players to your injury list. As you may know, Shadab Khan is injured as well. So there's no chance he's going to join. And Haris Sohail has got a niggle, which means he may also be not playing in the first test at least, which is kind of depressing in a way, because I think genuinely after Babar Azam, Haris Sohail is one of the best batsmen in terms of at least watchability. Because there's no Asad Shafiq, I would go Haris Sohail. So yeah, he's injured. That's why they brought up from the Pakistan A squad Imran Butt, who's had a pretty decent Quaid-e-Azam trophy last year. So maybe he can make his debut, or maybe they get Hussain Talat to come into the side. But this time at least play some deliveries, unlike the third T20.
Yeah, exactly. Someone I'm looking forward to seeing at some point for Pakistan when he actually manages to face a ball or ball. Okay, yeah. So Babar Azam, Imam Al Haq, as you said, if Haris Sohail is injured as well, then like this, the batting lineup is just wrecked. Like I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Okay, Imran Butt obviously, as you said, has come in. Ashad, do you want to touch upon him because you're a bit of a fan of his? I know. So do you want to touch upon him?
Yeah, just a bit. So last season he was in the top 10 scorers, highest scorers in the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy. This season he hasn't played that much, but up till that point, if that's the basis of the decision, then he is a pretty good shout. But there are better players who could have come in to the side. That's a topic for another time. But I like the way he bats. He's a person who will come in, he'll attack, but he'll also stay at the crease for a long period of time. So it's not just someone who will get to the crease, make 100 off 150 and get out. He's the guy who'll score 100 of 150 and then try and get that 200 as well. So he's a good, promising player. Still quite young, so it's good. Pakistan are going to try and debut someone like that if Haris Sohail is completely ruled out of the first test match.
Yeah, so it's good to hear. Obviously, sounds like someone who's hungry for runs, and I've heard a little bit about him and see a little bit of him. So if he does get, well, it's going to be tough to debut in New Zealand. I'm going to be honest with you, but let's see how he gets on if he does get the nod. Venu, okay, as a neutral, looking at that squad, who are you excited to see potentially either bowl or bat, really, or even give me a couple of players that you're excited to see?
I'm looking forward to Fahim Ashraf. I thought I've seen a bit in the T20 series, and I thought he did really well, especially with the ball. So I'm looking forward to see him. Also looking forward to Muhammad Abbas. I think he's Pakistan's best bowler, and I think he'll do well in New Zealand conditions when the ball's swinging and coming off the surface a bit as well. So I'm looking forward to see him bat. yeah, that's it really. Those are the two players I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Okay, so they've, well, Quick Info have kindly put a probable Pakistan 11, which I'll quickly go through. Um, Let me know what you guys think. Shah Masood, Abid Ali, Azhar Ali, Fawad Alam, Haris Sahel, Mohammad Rizwan, Fahim Ashraf, Yasir Shah / Sahel Khan. They put in Shaheen Afridi, Mohammad Abbas, and Naseem Shah. Obviously, as Ashad just mentioned, if Haris Sahel is injured, I think that's where Imran Butt comes in. So 7 though for Fahim Ashraf. Is that too high to have him at 7 and then potentially Yasir Shah at 8? What do you think, Ashraf? Because to me, it looks like we're kind of struggling with batting depth here.
Yeah, Pakistan's definitely struggling with batting depth. What they should or could have done, or they might do, who knows? They might bring in Hussain Talat instead because he can bowl a bit, but he's a much, much better batsman. He's also a left-hander, and he had a brilliant Azam trophy before he came on tour to New Zealand as well. But I think Fahim Ashraf at 7, maybe that's showing Pakistan showing faith in him to say, no, we think you can be our number 7. So I can't remember, but correct me if I'm wrong. Chris Woakes bats 7 or 8, depending on.
I think 8, yeah. But yeah, he has batted 7 before as well.
Yeah, when the batting is kind of thin, he's batting 7. So I think that's the idea, that Fahim Ashraf is known as a genuine all-rounder, even though his bowling is much better than his batting. But he slots in well at 7, because any lower than that means that you're kind of adding another batsman. And I think in New Zealand, especially on these pitches, Pakistan needs at least 4 pace bowlers to go into the team, because New Zealand have 4 fast bowlers that they're just gonna rake with, right? That's already standard. They're not even thinking about a 5th bowler, because they've got 4 fast bowlers who can do mostly anything that you need from a test match bowler. So for Pakistan, they need at least 5 bowlers, which means that the 5th bowler, for lack of a better term, has to be able to bat quite well and bat at number 7.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm going to go a bit left field here and ask you, Venu. So obviously they said about Yasir Shah, Sahel Khan. Now, for me, a fix that could potentially work, which obviously, as I'm saying, it's left field because we're talking about a New Zealand track here. And as Ashad rightly said about pace bowling, is bringing in Shadab Khan. Now, you could potentially have... Is Shadab Khan injured? Is that what you're... Is he injured? Oh, yeah, of course he is. What am I talking about? Wait, no, hold on. Didn't he come back? He came back there for the 30 again. What's he picked up this time?
Same. If you saw him in the 30-20, you saw him struggling.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
He's completely out. Yeah, he's out of at least the first test match.
Oh man, I was going to say that actually he could have come in, because then you can have him at 8 because he can bat, and then you've got a spinning option, and obviously you've got 4 fast bowlers, and I mean, I don't know how effective he would be as a spinner on here, because the issue that I have really is Yasir Shah at 8 or Sahel Khan at 8 or whoever it is, Shaheen Afridi. It's just you've literally got 4 sitting ducks basically. Like, I know Yasir Shah scored 100 in Australia, that's what I'm going to say, but he's come on, he's not. Let's look at Australia's tail end, their tail enders, and let's look at Pakistan. There's a massive difference.
Yeah, Pakistan's tail end is like India's tail end in a way.
Yeah. Well, but that issue, and unfortunately, we don't have the kind of quality in batting. Venu, from your kind of perspective, then looking at it as a neutral, what do you think of maybe Pakistan's batting depth, and also, do you think that they can get away with having only potentially 7 batters really in there? Let's be honest.
Yes, I think it's going to be a big talking point this series. I think we'll talk about this more during our reviews of each day and also the matches. I think unfortunately no BABAR Azam, who's going to be, he's bound to have made a century in this series. However, he's not there, so I think you made the correct point as Yasir Shah potentially coming at 8. Yeah, and that does show that you do have quite a large tail, just like India, and it's a shame Shadab Khan, he would have been a good fix at that position, but he's also injured, and I think New Zealand will think with their pace attack, if they get 3 early wickets, they can restrict Pakistan to a low total. I don't see how Pakistan will get a 300+ score if New Zealand get 4 quick wickets. I just don't see how it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle for sure. I think for me, Naseem Shah's, even though he's young, him and Shaheen Afridi and Mohammad Abbas, those three bowlers, they're going to have to bowl so well on and really adapt to these tracks very, very early on. Because if they don't, we will be struggling massively. Fahim Ashraf can do a decent job with the ball if he does play, which I'm assuming he will. But those three, especially, because let's be honest, Yasir Shah, he might be able to contain a little bit, but he's not going to be your wicket taking option on these tracks. Who knows? He could be, but I don't see it. Okay, let's go on to the New Zealand squad then. So Kane Williamson, captain, Tom Blundell, Trent Bolt, Carl Jamieson, Tom Latham, Daryl Mitchell, Henry Nichols, Mitchell Santner, Tim Southey, Ross Taylor, Neil Wagner, BJ Watling, wicketkeeper, and Will Young. Okay, Venu, I know you're a massive fan of Carl Jamieson. Do you want to touch upon him? How good has he been as of late?
Yeah, I saw him a bit bowling against the West Indies, and I thought he bowled really well. He's a very tall bowler, so hits the deck hard, bowls at a really quick pace as well. So I'm sure he'll giving Pakistan batsmen a lot of some short balls to contend with. Yeah, I think he's out of all the four New Zealand pace bowlers, I'll say he's the one to look out for, along with Neil Wagner.
Yeah, you wouldn't. A year ago, maybe a year ago, you would have thought Tim Southey and Trent Bolt were the two to talk about. But as is the depth and strength of New Zealand nowadays, that you're talking about Neil Wagner and Carl Jamieson, that's how good New Zealand have been of late. Asjad, for you, who are you looking at in that squad and thinking are really the players to watch out for New Zealand?
I just want to touch on the Carl Jamieson point. The thing with Carl Jamieson is he reminds me a bit of Steve Finn when he came in, when he was good, that he's really tall, but when he pitches up the ball, it just bounces a bit more than you expect it. And that's how he gets a lot of his wickets. And yeah, Carl Jamieson is one of mine as well, definitely. And the second is obviously Kane Williamson's obvious kind of, 251. Like, there's a thing. New Zealand, it's going to be very difficult to beat New Zealand, which is why I think Pakistan can win, because they're the underdogs, right? I'm going to stay positive. But yeah, Kane Williamson, I really love watching him bat because there's no Babar Azam, right? There's no, how do I put this? No beautiful looking batsman, if you get what I mean, right? So the only other one who is playing in this test match for me personally is Kane Williamson. Yeah,
there's not plenty full of aesthetically pleasing batsmen, let's say, in the Pakistan. No, there's not. I'm not gonna lie. There's not. Okay.
I've seen Yasir Shah's century against Australia. That's
quality. Yeah, that's quality.
Quality innings.
That's one of the best. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's one of the best hundreds I've ever seen. Just because he's not, obviously he's a number 8, number 9. In some teams he would be number 10. Let's be honest. But yeah, just that was against that pace attack as well. Anyway, that's a point for another day. I think that was just incredible. I could talk about that all day. Okay, let's then talk about the batting then. So Kane Williamson, as you said, is just phenomenal. Wasn't in there for the second test match. And Will Young came in, and as Venu pointed out when we discussed the review, he said he did quite well. Okay, obviously, Will Young, it doesn't look like he's going to get another look in just because of how strong New Zealand are. Interestingly, Devon Conway, my boy Devon Conway, was actually in the squad for that second test, but didn't get picked. So he's not going to get a look in as well. But I would like to see him in whites because I just think he'd do a good job. But okay, let's go to the probable 11 then. Tom Latham, Tom Blundell, Kane Williamson, Ross Taylor, Henry Nichols, BJ Watling, Daryl Mitchell, Carl Jamieson, Tim Southey, Neil Wagner, Trent Bolt. Does that team pretty much pick itself, Venu?
Yeah, you can't really go against any player in that team. I think Kane Williamson coming back is a massive, massive plus for New Zealand. And that pace attack, I think it's on par with Australia. I think the only issue New Zealand is they're missing a Daniel Vettori style spinner in that team. I don't think they have a spinning
Mitchell
option,
Santner.
do they?
So Mitchell Santner they've got.
They have, but he's probably not going to play.
No, he won't play. So yeah, they would have to put him in for Daryl Mitchell, right?
Yeah, exactly.
As that all-rounder, but I'm assuming they're not going to.
because Darryl Butcher can bat, can't he? So so I do think that pace attack is quality, and I'm looking forward to them to unleash their skills and their pace to the Pakistan batsmen.
It's okay. I'm sure Ken Williamson will bowl some off spin, won't he? I'm sure. Ashed, what do you think then? The team picks itself?
Oh yeah. Like the only way you could have someone else in there is injury, or they just don't want to play, right? So if Ross Taylor's like, I'm too old for this stuff, right? I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna play the first game. Then they bring in someone like Will Young or Devin Conway, as you mentioned. But otherwise, that like after Henry Nicholls' century in the last game, right? He's not gonna get dropped, but he was being looked at someone they were gonna drop because he'd had a terrible 2019 and a terrible 2020 compared to his 2018. But he's in there as well. He was the weak link, and clearly now he's not.
Yeah, can I just add to that?
Yeah.
So it's Asha made a good point. I think New Zealand are at their full strength, and whereas Pakistan are clearly not. And I think you were alluding to this point, Fizan, on the previous video. I think New Zealand have an excellent squad depth, and I think they've got someone in the waiting, on the sideline waiting to come on if they need to. So I think New Zealand are at full strength. Pakistan, unfortunately, not at full strength at the moment. But yes, we'll come on to score predictions in a minute.
I can guess what Venu's series prediction is going to be. Before we go on to series predictions, is there anything else you guys want to touch upon in terms of squads?
Yeah, just one thing. I think what Pakistan might do, and again, this is something that's slightly left field. Imran Butt, if he does debut, he is an opener by his actual position. So they might put him to open and drop someone like Abid Ali and introduce Hussain Talat. Because of that left-right-hand combination, I think Pakistan might look to exploit that kind of format. So that's just something I'm thinking they might look at, because it's if Hussain Talat comes in and again you have someone like Imran Butt playing and Abid Ali out, that kind of balances the side. I think it's 5 left-handed batsmen and 7 and 6 right-handed batsmen. So maybe that's something they might look to kind of mess with New Zealand's bowling. I don't think it's going to affect it, but that's just something I just wanted to point out.
That's interesting. It's difficult because you don't really want too many debutants in New Zealand, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. It could, in very Pakistan fashion, really work out somehow, because just by pure luck, to be honest with you. But Venu's shaking his head, which means 100% no. As the Grinch of today. No, I'm joking. with your cap on.
I'm not being a Grinch. I'm just being realistic.
I know. I'm just playing. Okay, let's go on to series predictions then. Venu, let's go with you first, because I'm pretty sure I know what yours is going to be.
I think it's 2-0 New Zealand. Just because as we've just said, New Zealand at the full strength. They've got one of the best pace attacks going in a test cricket arena. Kane Williamson is back. Henry Nicholls recently hit a century, and they've got the experienced Ross Taylor there. Whereas you look at the Pakistan batting lineup, obviously they're going to miss Babar Azam. So 2-0 New Zealand. If it was a 3-match series, I would have gone 2-1 New Zealand, because I think Pakistan would have the chance is they would have at least won one of those test matches. But considering it's a 2-match series, 2-0 New Zealand.
Okay, Asjad.
1-0 New Zealand, because I think in the second match, Pakistan will come back. Pakistan will have Babar Azam potentially. If Shadab Khan is someone they were thinking about, he could come in. They might understand the pitches a lot better. Pakistan always performs well in the last match of a series rather than the first few matches in a series. So maybe that's just in my mind. So I think 1-0 to New Zealand makes a lot of sense. But what Venu is saying is probably going to happen. But 1-0 kind of works as well.
You know what? I'm going to be super optimistic, because I haven't been super optimistic for so long. I'm going to say 2-0 Pakistan. Completely against the odds.
Is that, are you off your head? Oh,
You
yeah,
know
go for
what?
your head.
Why not? Why not? Let's just go for it. And you know what? I'm thinking Fard Alam is going to come good, and he's going to score 100,
It's not going to be
200 in the
2-0
series.
Pakistan. Come on.
If
Why
it's
not?
2-0 Pakistan,
Who knows?
Fazan, if it's 2-0 Pakistan, I'll buy you a pizza.
You know what? I look forward to the pizza.
I look forward to giving you that pizza.
What? How about if we wait for 2-0 New Zealand? Will I get a pizza?
No, because that's obvious.
Because that's obvious.
I got it right.
It's just Pakistan winning. That's the
It's
bet.
so out of the realms of possibility, apparently. So, yeah, it's sad that I'm having to kind of go
Being the
completely left
optimist.
field to actually say this, but yeah, New
It's not
Zealand are very strong.
not-
New Zealand are
no.
very strong, but you know what? Sometimes David and Goliath does happen, and this could be one of those times. Sometimes when you're at the top of the mountain, you can just slip off. And let's hope that's New Zealand's time. I love New Zealand. I actually do. I really love them because the way that they play cricket, and there's a reason why they won the Spirit of Cricket Award. Because
Yeah, but they didn't win the World Cup, did they?
Oh, it's harsh. Any Kiwi
Let's
fans
be
watching,
honest.
I'm sorry.
I just think they're just too
I'll
nice. They're just too nice. I'm sorry, it's too nice.
Venu from England fans' perspective. Oh, yeah, fair enough. Okay. Well, to be fair, neither did England technically. It was a draw, wasn't it? So, no, joking.
So do you know what? I think Pakistan might lose on purpose because that means India will go down in the Test Championship. So maybe Pakistan might lose on purpose. Let's put it that way. If Pakistan loses 2-0.
You know what? Let's say that's not going to happen because I'm hoping that does not happen. Okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap up here?
I'm looking forward to it. I'll be watching, even though I think Pakistan there'll be some good performances from Pakistan, I think. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I think Kane Williamson is due a big score. So, looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. So
I actually hate you know that. I hate
You know what?
You know, I want to
Fawad
see
Alam is
Shaheen. Who? Fawad Alam. Yeah,
Fawad
Fawad
Alam
Alam
is
is due. And then Naseem Shah and Shaheen Afridi to rip through New Zealand. Please, come on. Who knows? I don't know. I'm being optimistic, but I'm just hoping it'll come good. Okay. Thanks very much, guys, again for being on. Again, check out Asjad's Cricket4Us 2.0 channel and Venu's segment on our channel. It's in the playlist section, so check it out. It's Venu's weekly cricket catch-up, and we'll be doing another segment this week as well. Have a great holiday and festive period and New Year. If you don't watch another video, which I'm sure you will. And look out for our 2020 year-end video, which is going to be huge. It's probably at least 6 of us, I think, going to be on discussing some awards that we're going to be giving out. So check it out. It'll be really good to discuss. Okay, thanks very much, guys, and see you on the next video.